Rich Johnston of Bleeding Cool made some comments that he thought Comicsgate was transphobic. Let me set the record straight here. Michelle Perez and Mags Visaggio are violent sociopaths who threaten violence. They threaten Meyer's children and his many ex-wives with, they wish that, words I can't say on YouTube, let's just say a bad person in the Middle East dispatched Meyer with extreme prejudice. The point is, it was a two-way exchange. Being trans doesn't allow you to throw mud without repercussion. These trans writers attack cis creators. Mag said she wanted to hit cis people in the head with a baseball bat. Cis-phobic comments like this are going to invite some rebuttal. The trans creators attacked the cis creators with violence. The cis creators called them men in dresses. Hey guys, they are men in dresses. That's just a fact. It's the literal truth. Calling a man in a dress doesn't equal a threat of violence. It's just rude. Rich mentions the idea that the trans writers only got their jobs because they're trans, but he doesn't follow up on the possibility that it's true. Did the trans creators get their jobs on merit? Probably not. They aren't bad writers and artists, but Marvel and DC are supposed to be the best. Yes, they probably get hired as a virtue signal. Rich calls them token hires who only got their jobs because they are far-left socialist childish weirdos. Rich is right. How many open Trump supporters work for Marvel or DC? Rich mentions that comics books are written by liberal writers. Let me tell you how far left the country has moved. In the 80s and 90s, Democrats were very much against open borders. They knew that unskilled Mexicans depressed the wages of low-income blue-collar Americans. Back in the 80s, the Democrats were the blue-collar Union Party. In the 90s, the Marxists introduced a new word and shifted the parties around. It used to be that white meant English. If you were Eastern or Southern European, you weren't white, you were just Italian or Spanish, whatever. The 90s saw the massive increase in Mexican immigration, and the Democratic elites saw their future voters. The Democratic Party abandoned their blue-collar voters and started representing their Mexican ones. Democrats used to be for the blue-collar, and Republicans were for the wealthy, and both sides fought for the middle class. Fought for the middle-class voters. The Dems saw that the Mexicans were the fastest-growing demographic and said the Dems are for the brown people and all the Europeans are now called white. This pissed off the non-English Europeans because they had been marginalized and oppressed in Europe and in America. There's been a history of discrimination against the Irish, Eastern, and Southern Europeans. Now they found themselves lumped in with the upper-class English. The Democrats used to represent them. Now the Dems are oppressing them, trying to gaslight them and erase their history of oppression. The late 90s saw the rise of the angry white male, La Raza, the neocons, and right-wing radio. The Democrats got more and more racist against people of European descent. It's a rabbit hole, but that's for another video. My point is, writers of the 80s and 90s would be considered moderates today. They were all for giving people a fair shot, but they wouldn't support racism against Europeans, or hatred of men or straight cis people, or intolerance against Christians. Plus, these writers had a light hand. They could introduce both sides of an issue, something moderate writers at Marvel have lost the ability to do. Can you imagine a writer at Marvel presenting the right and left side of a political issue? They would be Twitter mobbed. The themes that Marvel supports: Euro-Americans are bad, cis, straight men, capitalism, Christianity, pro-life, closed borders, a mother and a father are all bad. Globalism, Islam, abortion, gay, trans, socialism, communism, single mothers are all good. I think it's important for more of us normal people to offer a rebuttal to the lies and propaganda in articles like this. Don't let the insane people like Rich Johnston control the narrative.